Tal, you want my archers only meleeed, right? So that way they don't
Yes,
start
that's correct.
doing anything.
Yep. So, thank you everybody for showing up. We're going to go ahead and start a couple minutes early for those that don't know. Uh, I am going to go to live stream. I am recording. Uh, we'll see. This is my first time recording, and I'm old, so it's probably no promises about the quality here. Those of you who are, go ahead and join whatever you're going to join. What side you were? Do I need to speak up? Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Hiroshi is he not? Yeah, Hiroshi's here. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with Pike Militia. People have had questions on how to maneuver Pike Militia. Uh, I'll show you the formations, why I like Pike Militia, why they're so strong. It's not that anything that they have that makes them that strong. It's all the little things that add up to make them strong. For those that don't know, the middle veterancy tree, it has the very end. You can get both those branches. One of them is a stun, and the other one is what I call a double tap, which allows you to hit another unit. So doubles their damage and stuns units when they are braced. So that's very powerful for them. Thank you, all the people here that have showed up to help me with this demonstration. I keep getting these questions asked a lot, and it's hard to explain via discussion. So I'm actually going to do a few things here. We're probably not going to fight a whole lot till the very end. Mostly it's going to be about moving units and how to use them in the battlefield. Obviously, this is not a real battle. And I'm going to try to set some stuff up here over by the rocks here. So you'll notice this is what makes the Pike Militia. I wish it wasn't raining and I wish it wasn't so dark, but that's the video we got. So what makes the Pike Militia so great is the F3 formation down here called Column. You unlock it, I believe, in level 7. They don't start with it. This is what makes them strong because if you're coming and charging here, if I'm where I'm standing now, I'm already getting hit by 2. You can see that 2 would be hitting me, and now 4 would be hitting me. And by the time I get over here to hit somebody, there's 2 more that are hitting me. If you have archers, please push 5 so that you don't shoot enemies. For this demonstration, please. So what this really is if you'll notice a cavalry unit that was coming this way, a cavalry unit is even wider, and as such is going to have, by the time they get here, they're going to have 7 to 12 hitting them, which is why they chew up cavalry so well. So Dover and Kink and Otter, if you guys want to set up your shield walls and pikes, I'll start showing them formations.
We have them set up on our side.
Okay.
We'll just reform.
Okay, yeah, just come over near, closer to where I am. That's fine if you don't mind. Towards the center or whatever. And then, so that's what I like about the Pike Militia. The other thing I like about the Pike Militia is they fit inside of a turtle formation, and that is for a shield wall. And you'll look these gentlemen up right here. This is a turtle formation that Lord Kink has that's now moving. Hopefully they don't attack me here. All right, so right here, bam, look at this. So if I were to come in here and attack this, now all these pike are pretty well protected. So they're good for range. They're good at for against a charge. The only downside is, of course, if they got hit from behind. And if you could move whoever's shield wall is in the back, if you could move it away so I could show the archers here. That looks like Dover, maybe. So you'll notice that he's put archers here, not quite lined up perfectly, but if I were to do a charge right now, if I was coming from over here, everything would be protected, back and behind there. Archers can shoot to the side, so this is what we call the standard I formation. That's what we call it. Your house might call it something different, but when I say I formation, that's what I want. Usually for choke points and things like that. You could actually use it for a line, and then if Dover will bring his wall back over and put him in line formation, he'll do a line with a formation here. Oh yeah, if you can't see anything, sorry, thank you for bringing that up. I'm reading the comments in chat. I am live streaming in the Discord, so you should be able to click my name and click the join, and then you can see all this stuff that we're showing you. And then if you could put that back, I was the line, please, Dover. Kind of put it up. There you go. And you'll notice that Dover has a line formation. It's a little bit ahead of where it needs to be, but you can see his pike. Those pike that are there, they're still sticking up. So they have all the benefits of the I formation, but they also have the line formation, so they can block off a larger corridor. Downside to this is AE attacks. So, and that's how you counter it. Is with cannons is usually the easiest way to do that. So that's the formation. What I'm going to do now is some people had asked about. Looks like I'm getting some questions about the pike militia. So I'm going to show you general movements of the pike militia. So we're going to pretend like these. Actually, I'll do it.
Get into position.
We'll say that the enemy over there is a cav charge coming over here. Normally, what you would do to face them is
Units.
have to go all the way over here and put up your to face it. But the reason why I like pike militia is because I'll put them back and show you a faster way to do it. It's not as pretty and it's not as good, but whatever you can hold down X, by the way. Whatever way you tap this, that's going to be their final formation. And then if you'll notice over there at the bottom left by my pikemen, they have a command called brace. So this is where they're going to come from.
Form up.
I hit brace right there,
Steady.
and they immediately turn to face. So you don't actually have to wait for them to face.
Form up. Form shield wall.
Wherever I hit the brace is where they're going to face, and they will finish whatever the movement is.
Position. Position.
So you can turn them really fast, and that way you can. The key if you're running pike militia is you babysit them because they are very weak. They have low health. They don't have good
Christian.
defense. What's that?
What button you press to do the alerting?
Say that again, please.
The button to alert.
Tu parles français?
Bon, en français, c'est quoi le bouton pour donner une alarme comme il y a du danger? Non,
X. Faut garder X. Et puis pour Brace, c'est juste 1.
non, je veux dire le bouton comme tu sais, danger, or les expressions.
Oh, middle mouse button.
OK.
Ouais.
Thanks.
No worries.
Units.
Okay.
Assemble.
So again, that's pretty much the gist of it. To help protect your pike and make them stand longer, you're going to put them into this formation right here. Go ahead and just do a standard eye, please, and I'm going to go swap out to show you how effective it is. I'm going to charge my IRs into it, and I have maxed out IRs, and it's not fun. This is why I recommend learning this. This is pretty much the standard of what you're going to do when you go into battles. I queue up solo a lot because I have a weird time schedule.
Form up. Forward.
So I just follow somebody around with my pike militia,
Form up.
and I will send them by a shield wall. They don't know, most people don't use the turtle formation. They use line or they use Shieldtron. It does still work in Shieldtron formation. And Dover, if you could move your line, please.
OK. Now I got a good question.
Okay, go ahead.
All units have advantage like on certain terrain surface, like steppe, wood, urban.
Get into position.
So if I use the terrain, the Tsereg, on urban, they say they are bad. What are the debuff they got?
The debuff for which unit?
When they are on bad terrain.
Oh, bad
I want to
terrain?
know.
I don't think that's active right now. That's a good question, and I'll go into that a little bit more after this battle, so everybody knows what you're talking about, because it's kind of confusing. And so I'm going to charge my max level IRs
Kill them all.
into this, and we'll see how it works. And as you can see, that's not what the archers aren't helping anything. There's no heroes helping anything, and it's not going terribly well. It stopped the IR charge. Obviously, their heroes would be helping them out and making it more mean. And we're going to go ahead and do this fight out to see how long it lasts. And this is the main reason why low-level units, and actually this would actually work with Iron Cap shields as well. The way a charge works is the mechanic is the first unit it hits, that's what it's going to hit. The Iron Reapers have a where they can hit more than one unit, but the shield is going to take up one, and they're kind of bugged out with all those heroes standing there. Just go ahead and kill them off. So, what did you guys lose?
No archers left.
Yeah, okay.
Half spear sergeants.
That's a little more than half my pike militia.
All right, so 2 units stopped it, and if I were to run another one in here, it would stop those IRs as well. So, still looking at it, they haven't changed their formation. If you want, you can dress it up and make it look pretty by making an arrow, but you don't need to. So, I just lost my IRs because I attacked that formation. That's the strength of it. So, I'm going to go get... I'll go ahead and do the... I guess I need another unit to do this stuff. So, for shield walls, there is a command called Stow Shields, I believe. Is that what it's called? Can somebody double check? I don't have my shields out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. It's called Stow Shields. That makes them marginally run faster, and I say marginally, and I'm being generous with that. But so if you need to move it fast, you can. Generally, it's only good if to get out of the way of something that's coming that you don't want to be a part of. It's usually not good to get into combat. Like, let's say I wanted to get to the front lines faster, and the reason why is because when I hit Stow Shields here, they stop running and then stow their shields. And then before combat, of course, I'm going to want to bring my shield back, so I'm going to hit Stow Shield again. They stop running to put their shield back on. So you don't gain a lot of time to get to the front lines. But it is a good thing if, hey, there's a cav coming around the corner, that you might use it then. All right. Any questions about Stow Shield? That was one of the questions that we had in a previous training session. All right, cool.
The enemy captured the
Units,
point.
assemble.
This is my favorite, personally, the turtle formation right here. It's a square. Shiltron is just as good. It's just it's better defense. I like if I were to attack it, there's no square way to hit it, so it doesn't really matter which way you attack it from. And that's the weakness of turtle, is it's better to attack from here. Also, on one side they don't attack as well. I don't know if that's just graphically or if it's actual functionally. You'll notice they don't stick their spears out because they're on the wrong hand. But the reason why I like this better is because it has more shields. No matter where you come from it, unless you hit this exact corner, you're going to have more pokies at you because of the way that it's formed. It's also better to cover your pike militia. So if you guys want to do the walking forward, please, with the shield walls, if you guys want to line that up. Another advanced command we do is we call it kind of leapfrogging or hopscotching, whatever you want to call it. So you got 2 units. One of them is going to advance, and then they'll stop, get into their formation again, except for somebody didn't hit X. And then another unit will follow up behind it. And hopefully then he'll get in the front, and then he'll mark his down, and then the next person will come. And you advance forward. This is a way you can press forward into heavy fire, and you'll get better at it. And each squad that we have has a little bit different rotation and speed that they do it at. I'll kind of show you how the advance works. It's kind of self-explanatory, but I will show you. You saw how his troops kind of went wild. At the end of advance, they break formation and decide to go have a beer or something. I'm not really sure what goes on here. So they get there, and then they are not in formation. So what you do is,
Form up.
at the very end, you'll actually hit your X to get it about where you want it. So I'm advancing,
Advance.
and then as it gets close, I hit, and it's got less time in there. The benefit of walking the shields up like this is that the pike unit can stay here protected the whole time while advancing forward. It's good to go into cannon fire because the pike is always back behind, which in the second unit behind, and if it needs to, because it's so much faster than the shields, it can run up and protect the front shield from a cav charge or whatever might be coming if it needs to be up there. So we use this. Also, heroes can hide in there. The new with the Condorretti, we call them condos. The new sword and shield unit can fit in here. So they're good to hide in there. And then it allows them to get close to in charging range so they can pop their charge off without it being seen. That's the bulk of the advanced movements. I'll do the simple stuff real quick, just so everybody knows. C means basically follow me, which is what they're doing here. And then everybody should know about the double tap for C, which is marginally faster. There we go, double tap. Then there's X, where you can hold X, and you can move it around wherever you want it. You can also hit your the D and A keys to spin it around, for those that don't know. There's also, in the middle of holding X, excuse me, you can actually swap it by hitting F1, still spinning it. So until you hit the left mouse button, it's still in the deploy mode.
Units, assemble.
So the most important thing I could probably teach players is don't use C and don't use double tap C. You're going to use this command here, which is V, which for those who don't know, V makes them attack anything in their attack range. Obviously, these guys don't have anything in attack range, but you can hold down on V, and this will come up, and you can attack an area. So now they're going to move to that area as though I told them to move. But if something is in the way, they will attack. I can't tell you how many times, I know everybody who's played has seen it, where there's a bad guy unit running around the corner, and they're just ignoring you as they run to go follow their hero because somebody hit C. If you hold down V in attack area, they will run to that area, and they will engage anything that comes away. It's especially powerful for range units. In fact, you can have this archer unit. You can hit your F or hit your 5 so you can fire at me. I think that's Celios that has it. Or they'll shoot a unit. I'll try to get closer. So, thank you. And because if he hits C, I can run up and attack it. Go ahead and hit C. Now that I'm off my horse. So he's hitting C, so now I'm right here. But now if he holds V and hits V, when I get close, like run back towards your supply point with your archers. With the V, please. Actually, they might be too close to start hitting the other units. Pull them back if you would.
They're hitting everything. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they have long range. So if you'd imagine that there was a... I guess it's not a good... You can get a ship 5. We don't have a building to hide around. So if they... if you hit and hold the V, that is an attack area, it'll move and hit anything in the way. If a hero comes up to him to smash him, like you probably have a dozen times or more, that'll attack him. The only other things that I'm reading my list to make sure I hit everything that everybody needed. Some charge mechanics. I didn't bring a charge unit. Actually, I did, but I just charged them into the IRs. So when you do a charge, up until the actual charge, it looks just like advance. So you can aim it as far as you want. Certain units have different ranges and speeds that they charge at. But actually, here's the charging unit. You can just... give me a minute. So, okay. I was going to have you charge my unit, but that's fine. That shows a good charge. So if I were to charge this unit, what would I do? You want to hit from the corner if you can. That's the weak spot of this. I haven't found really too many weak spots to these guys other than just overwhelm them and keep them off their toes. The new unit. They're still new. Is there anything else? Sorry.
Faire arrow.
What's that?
Set seal the Confinity. If you get the Spear Sergeant and you get Fire Arrow behind, the Confinity become useless because when they get shot by Fire Arrow, they stop their charge and they burn.
That's a good point. So they're not fireproof. So that's a good weakness to him. He mentioned specifically fire archers, but now that I think about it, there's a lot of there's a siege weapon that does it. There's a couple of other people that do it. If you red people who want to kill this Java Joe, if he attacks you, you go right ahead. unless he's in this. Java Joe, are you in this Discord?
Yeah, I think he is.
Okay. You're welcome to hang out with us, but if he starts attacking you guys can smash him.
Oh no, yeah, he's in here.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So we only
Just
got like
listening in because I've been getting kicked out all day.
okay.
So
More the merrier. So does
Thank
anybody,
you.
we got about a minute and a half of this battle left. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Don't know, got here late, so you know about the Vanguard Archer.
The Vanguard Archers, yeah. They
The capacity to move and shoot at do that useful or that's another useless thing. Can't they, you make them like retreating and shooting at the same time?
yes, I'm gonna. I didn't actually bring any out here. I don't know anybody that has them. Actually, I do know somebody who has them, but he isn't on. So he's saying that the Vanguard Archers have a couple things that they do. They can move and shoot. They also have a debilitate that lowers the speed of an enemy unit. So that is a tactical advantage, and it is absolutely. He's absolutely right. So some of the things that I'm going to bring up after this, there's not. You don't really need to see it. I'm going to walk through a few units and how to use them uniquely. One of them is the Vanguard Archers. They do fill that role. I think a better for that role, with the exception of being able to. You can go ahead and kill me if you want to. If you want to, to fill the role of slowing down an enemy, I think that the Vipers do better than that because they're cheaper leadership, but they cannot move and shoot. And I could only get I had them, but I got rid of the. They were a what's it called? Auxiliary unit, the Vanguard Archers. I didn't like the way they because they can only move forward. I couldn't get them to move back while shooting.
And just notice something. If someone grab you with the mole, and the unit of the guy are on follow, so you can kill this unit, like let's say the archers, you grab the guys, and you go throwing them into, let's say, melee, and his archer will follow him into the melee and get killed too, right?
Yes. So just in case, I'm repeating what you asked because it's a good question.
I mean, in
and I
that
want to
way,
make sure it
if
gets
you
recorded.
press C and they follow you and you grab the guy, his unit will follow him to death.
Yeah, he's saying if you get picked up by a maul and you're hitting C, your unit will follow you. With V, it will not. And I realize that C and V sound alike, so C is in cat and V is in Victor. The other thing is cover commander is a pain in the ass when you get knocked off of a wall because your unit will lose its mind trying to get to you. All right. So,
however, cover commander is very good when you're operating a siege engine, as they will attack anything that comes close.
okay, good tip. Good tip. Okay, so we're gonna go look at the Vanguard Archers, kind of walk through for visual people what he's talking about. So it's in the veterancy tree. Well, first of all, it's a thing that they can do is they have the ability to move and fire. They can only move forward while firing forward, but they have certain things. I'm trying to look at what it is. There he goes. They get increased movement speed when firing and moving. Somewhere they have a poisony thing. Somewhere they have a slow. There it is. Nope, that's firing and moving.
It's the very first one.
Oh, I skipped it. Thank you. Appreciate that. So the very first one right here. Whenever targets hit by it get removed, reduces their movement speed by 15%. The reason why that's 160 leadership, their attributes, if you look, the piercing armor penetration is pretty weak. The damage is respectable. That 1600 is decent. But what I like better for that purpose of slowing other units. Now they can't shoot when they run, but the Vipers. Actually, I'll pull mine up so you can see the stats when. No, I didn't show them. So hold on. I'll just do it the faster way. So the Vipers have a poison that they have, and that also slows enemy units. So they get sustained poison damage. there it is right here. Targets may be slowed. Now it's not 100% like it is with the Vanguard, but it's a 20% slow instead of a 15. So it's a little bit more
Now-
slow. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, are the Rattan Vipers better than the Rattan Marksmen?
No, but they're not. But if you look, no, I think that the Rattan Marksmen are better. I think
Okay.
the Vipers have a little bit longer range. Let me double check so I'm not making shit up.
I know the marksmen get 1 bonus to range, don't they? Or 2
Yeah,
times
you're right. I'll look at my
9%.
actual units so that I can figure it out. There we go. We'll look because I have the veterancies. So range is 86 for the Vipers, and I think it's going to be the same now that I think about it. Nope, range is 70.
Yeah. Crossbow have a short range, sadly.
So that's the difference between the two. Also, I believe that the Rattan Marksman slow on their poison is 15%. And again, the 20% for the Vipers. Good tactics to use. That was one of the things I used the Vipers back when the Imperial Pike were overpowered, can march through everything. The downside is to them is that they're really slow. So I would just keep peppering them with that to keep them out of the combat. Good job bringing that up. Was that Geronimo? Is that right? Or
Yeah.
okay. Good point. Thank you. So I think I've handled all the questions from previous trainings. Does anybody have any questions about other units or tactics, things that they're having problems countering? Anything's
Could I ask
fine.
about about the Rattan Marksman? Because I've gone those rather than the Vipers. I
Okay.
didn't realise at the end of the skill tree, you can only choose one or the other, poison or fire. You can't choose both,
Correct.
which I don't really understand because you can have them up to level 16, and there's not 16 points. to
They start
use.
off at level 1.
They start off at level 1, so it's actually whatever their max is, you get one less vet point. Because if you look
Oh.
here, level 1 is over here. At level 2 is when you get your first vet point. So this is level 2 right here. So it's actually one less than their max. But since you brought this up, I do get asked this question a lot. Do you want to get fire or do you want to get poison? Most people call this a poison that they do naturally. It's actually not a poison. It's a bleed. And when you get this on there, it adds poison and gives them a little green hue. So you'll have a bleed and a poison.
I got a question now.
Okay.
People said that cavalry was dead. Actually, check the talent tree and they mark they cannot be stunned. It's not that reduced the stun compared to someone was saying to me yesterday. They think they cannot be stunned. And
Which-
it's like the nerf is not really a nerf because you can still counter it in the talent tree. They said they cannot be stunned.
For which unit?
The Hussar
The
and
Hussars?
the Cataphract.
Okay, well, for the Hussars, yes, technically-ish. I'm going to go ahead and explain on that. So if you look at the top trees in the Hussars, I'm not going to go through all of them, but all this is charge damage, charge duration, charge reuse. All this is positive charge stuff. Or you can get all this realisticity, auto attack, silliness down here, and at the very last, get charges can no longer be interrupted.
That means there's no interrupt by arrow and stuff and gunshot.
But they are interrupted by brace.
Yeah, okay.
So they are interrupted by brace, and they are also interrupted by rocks. And it sucks. So
By rock?
yeah, by a rock. If you hit a rock,
Oh, you mean
it breaks them.
okay? It's the stuff in the way.
Yes, stuff in the way, buildings, whatever, it doesn't matter, and it tends to break more than the one unit out of the charge. So I'm going to stand by it and say that the Hussars are useless. And just so you know, I do have maxed out Hussars, and I never use them because
So they not good to take care of ranged unit.
they're not. I will never take them into battle. I just got them to level 30 I haven't used them this whole season. I think I was level 25ish when the season started. I just use them for free battles, and so that I could get them to 30, and then I'll never use them again. I did go the top veterancy route, so I could switch down here and get the uninterruptible charges. But the problem with the Hussars is their formation, and yeah, it doesn't show. Is that how spread out they are? I guess I should have brought them. Next time I will, when I do a little showing or video. But their formation is just way too wide, and it's to use them, you have to run around in circles for a little bit, run around zigzagging and hitting CCCC so that they kind of bunch up, and then you can kind of charge them down a lane. I'm sure that
but
Go ahead.
I think cavalry will resurrect. A lot of people will lose it against the Falconetti Gunner.
Yeah, that's probably true as well. Okay. Any other questions? Did we get all the questions answered with already?
I have a question about leveling.
Okay, go ahead.
So I recently noticed that when you level your characters, they get more health, even though nothing tells you that. Is there anything else hidden when you level characters that level up?
No, that's actually a very common question that we get. And just so everybody knows, he actually means units. When a unit levels up, it gets more hit points. And no other stat with the exception of whatever veterancy point you get. They just get more hit points.
Does anyone know how much? Is it like linear, percentage?
It is linear. I'm not sure if it's percentage, but I know that each level it is the same amount. So you
And each unit has like their own amount assigned type of thing.
Yes, and they tweaked it. So I had all the numbers down, but they tweaked it. Does anybody remember Sky Optical? I know you played back then. Do you know if when they tweaked hit points? I don't remember what it was.
I don't remember that, but I don't know what it is now. No.
So I had them all written down for all the units that I had, but they went ahead and changed stuff when they did the melee rebalance, which I think was the middle of season 1. Not really relevant, but as far as when. So I don't know for sure. Basically, what I do is I just screenshot whenever I buy a unit, I screenshot its stats, and then I look to see how many more hit points it gained, and it's going to gain that for the rest. So I can calculate how many hit points it has.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's a common question I get asked a lot, so I'm glad that you brought it up. Do we have any other questions or anything?
So
Yeah,
the
please tell them.
parenting. Oh, sorry, Orange.
Please tell
Interrupted
me.
Orange.
So basically, I'm disabled with arthritis, so I haven't got the fastest reaction speed with my meds on top. So I play a short range archer, and I've mostly got ranged units, although I'm slowly getting near the same amount of melee. Is there any kind of shield formations that can cover, say, 2 or 3 people's archer units, like 2 shield units in the F2 oblong formation for spear sergeants? I was thinking 2 squares might cover either 1, 2 or 3 archer units inside it, so the archer units could really hurt people until they get close, and then the spear sergeants could defend it.
Yeah, that's for me. So you said specifically for archers and also specifically for range units, and those are 2 separate things.
Right.
Archers have an arc, right? That's their. Archers don't really do anything but tickle people. Yes, you're going to get a lot of kills because people bring 2 and 3 star units or less, and you'll rack those up. But you're not going to do anything to 4-star units unless it's a range unit. So I'm going to address your question as range first, and then I'll talk a little blurb about my philosophy on archers. So his question, I'm going to rephrase it a little bit to say range. He's asking, is there a couple formations that you can do with shield walls that you can do to protect a wider range of range units? So the formation that we did, where we had the we call the line formation or whatever, where there's a brace pike and a single circle, and then we also have a line in front of it. Looks like a T. That is your best unit for that, because it still gives you your center mass to where you can't be charged, but it also gives you some coverage from the flanks. and I'll kind of go into this formation a little bit more when I talk specifically about archers, because people that play well together, that's really the only use for archers that is good in my mind, because all the other range units are better at doing archer shit than archers are, with the exception of being able to shoot over stuff. So
The Palace Guard, they like Imperial Archers, they can ignore armor, right?
the Imperial archers can do what?
They got the Bodkin arrow.
Yes, the Bodkin arrows. Yes, he's right. And I'll bring that up a little bit about when I go into specifically for archers. So, yes, you probably could do, I think it was Orange that brought up, you can have two turtle formations right next to each other and fight that way. And you're more than welcome to, and try that out. But I don't know of any places that you can fully block with two turtles. Maybe if you left a small gap in between, something like that. Also, I think it's better. A turtle is best with because of the density. You really want to put your pike there, because a cav charge that comes through, or any other unit that comes through, if they knock down the initial unit, can punch through and do a lot of damage to a lot of units really fast, because they are such a tight formation. So, generally speaking, I would put a turtle with the wings out to the side with a second shield wall. So, does that kind of answer your question? And then I'll go into the specifics about my archer philosophy if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah. Yep.
So, archers have weak penetration, weak damage. I won't say weak damage, but with their penetration, they're weak damage. I look at the philosophy of from territory wars or fighting challenging fights. Any unit, especially 4-star unit or 3-star with the advantage. By advantage, I mean this is what it's designed to do. For example, charging from behind or shooting out of range, stuff like that, can handle any 3-star and below unit. What really matters is your 4 and 5-star units. That's where it is going to determine the outcome of the battle. And most archers can't really do anything against 4 and 5-star units because of the high armor class, or defenses, I guess. There are a few exceptions. Now, what archers are good at is that they can shoot over things. And yes, there's the obvious thing that you see where everybody puts them at a supply point and lets them rain arrows down and get some tickle kills here and there. But what a pro archer does, and I've only seen a couple of these, is if you're using an archer, you should never let them fire where they want to. The exception would be is if they're getting ready to get run down, then sure. But other than that, you should be attacking area. So for those of you who haven't ever done that, I'll just pull up an archer unit real quick. So all archers have a command right here. It's called attack area. It puts up a little circle and it attacks that area. And what you should be doing is, when I have that formation that we just had, where there's a turtle formation with some pikes and there's some archers behind them, you're using this attack area to hit those archers behind. That's how you weaken that. That is what archers are for. Yes, if you look at on the archer tree, there's unique flavors to archers. For example, there's the fire archers, which were brought up. Yes, they do fire damage, but again, the fire is, with the exception of being against Rattan units and being able to stop a charge here and there, if you are relying on them to stop the charge, then you don't have pike and you're not working well as a team. So sure, use them. But if you're working as a team, they're not really providing a whole lot. Because unless it is against Rattan units, they do decimate. I will admit that they decimate the Rangers if they let them. The other archers, Vanguard archers, we already kind of spoke about them a little bit. They have a benefit of being able to slow the enemy. I don't really care for the advancing, except for that they move really freaking fast. I think they can get their speed up to 7, so they can move up to the front lines really fast. And then the prefecture archers, they have an arrow rain ability, which is basically that shoot area that all archers have. I'll just go ahead and pull it up real quick. They have, not only do they have attack area, but they have arrow rain, which is the same thing, but with like machine gun speed. So they can really, it's basically a super special attack area. The other archers that were mentioned is with the Bodkin tipped arrows, which is right here. And this actually makes them have really high piercing, and they do this. So that's good because the weakness of archers is they can't penetrate heavy armor. The downside is you still have archers that are filling a role that is already exists with another unit. Now the benefit again is that they can shoot over, but if you're shooting over stuff, then generally speaking, you're shooting soft targets.
Quick question: how do the nom-cons fall into this?
Yep, that was the other two that I left off, and I haven't talked about is the Nomkins, which we call napkins because they have a nasty bleed, and I think it's
Yeah.
funny. And then the Vipers. The reason why I left these two off is because they have kind of unique roles. Yes, the Rattan Vipers, and if you look at their stats, they're just really weak penetration, weak this. But what they do is they can. Well, I like the Vipers because they slow, which most tier 4 units are slow moving. And then the other one that was brought up was the Napkins, which is, for those that don't know, that is under the unit challenges for Season 2. The Napkin Archer's right here. And he's absolutely right. And again, people call them poison archers, but technically it's a bleed, I believe. It's not a poison.
Correct.
So there are a few... the reason why I keep making that differentiation is because a lot of the rattan units have resistance to poison. They take
Yeah.
less damage from poison, and these don't affect them because it's a bleed. Also, it does. You can match stacking issues. For example, like I mentioned with the rattan marksman, you can have them with a poison and a bleed. I personally use the fire because I'm scared of rattan marksman. The rangers, and they do well against that. For using the marksman. So that is kind of my philosophy on archers. I don't think that they ever win you a battle unless you have a pro archer and he's shooting the other range units, because the range units don't have the armor and the toughness to the hit points to stand up to it.
Well, it seems like the nom-cons will punch through heavy armor.
It's with their
And
bleed,
then-
I believe.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I agree 100%. For newer players, some of the units that I really recommend is the Namkins because they don't use honor. And then I also recommend the Condottieri guards. How do you say that? There's got to be somebody who speaks it up.
Condottieri.
Condottieri?
Thierry.
Yep, condos.
Yeah.
Condos.
It-
Got it.
Freaking Italians.
Whoa. Let's not go there. So yeah, these both, I think that they're overpowered because I have maxed level. What are they called? The prefecture guards somewhere in here.
Yeah.
I have them. Oh, here we go. So, and if you put them stat for stat, even though I have them maxed with all the honor upgrades, they still don't. I still would prefer the new unit. So, they have comparable hit points, comparable damage, and better survivability with the new unit. So, even though I spent all this, I think it's like 36,000 honor, don't do it. I would recommend just going with the condos.
Yeah.
So now that you show that you add those extra honor stuff, have you tried also with the incendiary archers? Does it make a big difference?
I actually used some of my undo cards, whatever those things are called. I had them,
Yeah.
but I stopped using the incendiary archers because the fire just wasn't enough. If I want to bring out a fire archer unit, especially, I'll bring out my marksman. I picked fire for that because it's always fire. Not 100% of them are using fire, but I don't have to worry about it. And I got really tired of relying on my incendiary archers and being on a raining map like we were just in because they don't shoot fire.
Really?
Yep. So I don't. That's why I stopped using them. I know they still have a place, and I'm not saying don't use them, but I'm never going to call for them when I'm shot calling. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions about any other units or combinations that's very difficult for you or you're struggling with?
What's your opinion on javelins?
Okay, well, javelins are delightful, but so I do have somewhere, some maxed out. I have the Imperials maxed out, and I got a couple of dudes in my house that have the Sergeants maxed out. I like the Imperials because they have a really good shield wall, but their melee was awesome at the beginning, but now that everybody's running, tier 4 and 5 troops, they can't hold their own. They do have a little bleed with their shield bash and things like that, but yeah, I don't. I tried different specs with them to see if I liked it, like the throwing spec and all that other stuff. I couldn't get it to work. The double shot from the now, of course, it is a hero killer for those that don't know. The double shot from the sergeants is pretty baller. I've seen it stop most of a cav charge, and we have a couple guys that use it really well for the jab sergeants. So, as somebody who leads people in battle, sometimes if you're good with it, yes, but I think most people are not good with it, just because all they want to do is they want to go hit that marksman ability and get that hero kill, which is great and it's wonderful. But if a unit's just going around assassinating heroes, if heroes are cautious like they should be, then you're not going to get that assassination with it. So you have to be good with it.
Were they going for the top tree then to stop cav charges?
The jab sergeants, that's the one I believe that has the double throw, right?
Cooldown reduction, yeah.
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 So then, yes, they went the top tree. I'm not going to speak too intelligently on the subject because this is all, running. Somebody else ran the tests, and I mean, he's a knowledgeable dude, so I take him at his word. But so yes, I like them, but I wouldn't want to see 4 or 5 javelins in my 15 stack.
All right.
And they require micromanaging. Now, one thing I do like them for is I really like the Imperial Javs on field battles. Not so much on, depends on which map you get, but if you have a supply point that is near, you can basically, you put a pike there, their shield wall is good enough to stop enough arrows, and it's pretty much impenetrable. Now, yes, a couple of charge units can come in and mess it up, and there's heroes and bombs and all that other stuff, but it's a very strong, because their shield wall is a solid shield wall, it does give them a little bit of versatility, and that's why I went with the Imperial Javelineers back when they had a charge, but I'm happy that I have them because they do have a shield wall.
Okay.
All right, hold on. Let me catch up on.
Yeah, I have a question regarding jabs. Have you tested how well they are at breaking through shields?
Yeah, they're pretty good. I know that if you get the, and I don't have the honor upgrades as you can see. I know this one right here makes a big difference, breaking through the shields. But for the Imperials anyway, and my use of them, their ammo is too precious to break a shield when there's other units and heroes that could do that for me.
Well, what about sergeants?
The javelin sergeants.
Yeah.
Yeah. I even then, yes, they can do it, but again, unless I can resupply, their ammo is too precious for me to mess with when there is other ways to break down a shield wall.
So
I do see javelin sergeants going back to the supply so often mid-battle.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that they're like a good flex pick.
Yeah, that's actually a very.
lot of things, just not do any of it well. There's always a better option.
So, I really like the way you articulated by calling it a flex pick. For those of you who are familiar with that term, but I wouldn't go so far as to say there's always a better option. I can speak pretty intelligently about the Imperial Jazz because of their flexibility with the shield wall, because they can melee as well. They will beat most 3-star units, even prefecture guards, in melee, as long as they have the shield wall to stop the charge. And especially if you count in a Jav. So they're a 3-star melee unit without any fluff like charging and all that other stuff. They are a javelin unit, and the shield wall is solid. You're not going to break through it with guns and all that other stuff, and they're fireproof.
But actually, the way to talk about the Vassal, oh, it's gold. Those fucking boom, man. I gotta check.
Vassal
Vassal. Yeah, they say they ignore shield breaker.
Oh, you're saying that they have a shield breaker? I have never had my shield broken that I've noticed from longbow.
That will need to be. We'll need to test that one day. So you need to break a shield, and we test it with someone who got them.
Yeah. So if you're looking for a shield breaker, these guys right here, the Domain Arbalist, are pretty baller at it. I should have brought those out to show people. They have short range. I like them a lot, but they actually have a really high chance, and the way that they shoot with their, because they kind of shoot on their own. They don't use volleys and all that other stuff that regular archers do. They actually, one of them might knock the block out, and another one might shoot that same area and start whittling them down. So I think that they're the best range unit outside of the tier 4 and 5 Aquabasirs.
Oh, the Imperial gun.
Yes.
Are they
Yes.
good?
Yes.
They said they can break a block.
Yeah, they don't break it too well. I do have them. I have all the honor grades. I love them. They're fun. But if you have anybody that's good with archers, they're going to die because they just don't have any hit points.
Yeah, they say Bullet can break enemy blocking statue. That that make them looking like quite good.
So I like the Vassal Longbowmen and the Incendiary Archers because they both have the area attack. So I normally try and take the ranged units out if I see some trying to or peppering my side, especially if I've got any height advantage or.
Yep. And then another tip is be on your horse when you're trying to drop your attack area because you get a better viewpoint.
Oh, clever! Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm not saying the archers are bad. I just, generally speaking, people don't use them right. But it sounds to me like you do, and now hopefully everybody else does, and I'll start hating archers again because people are attacking where they're supposed to be instead of just letting them free fire. Any other questions or anything? We got about 10 more minutes. If anybody's got something else they want to discuss.
I have one more.
Okay.
About horse archers. Do they have any use whatsoever?
For what again?
The horse archers. The Iron Cap Bow Riders and the Korchin.
Okay, I don't have the Korchins, but I kind of regret it because when I was lower level, I did have the Bow Riders, and I loved just running around, having fun, like in field battles, peppering this unit. And then they're not strong enough to do anything by themselves, but they're fast enough. I believe their speed. Actually, I'm not gonna. So their speed is 7.5. So they're pretty good speed. What I would use them for is when you're in a 5 stack of people. When I was lower level, and you would use them, somebody would be like, "Hey, we need help at A," and I would just kind of run and strafe by A and drop a couple extra arrows, maybe jump off or swing by on my sword or whatever weapon I'm using at the time, just to give them a little bit of help, and then I could immediately swing back by the B or even swing around to support all the way on the other side, C. So I had a lot of fun with them, but as you unlock stronger units, they kind of go to the wayside. I do regret I never actually I unlocked them, and I believe he's talking about the here we go. Did you say the Korchins? Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, the Korchins.
So I never actually bought them. I unlocked them, but I never got around to them because I had other stuff I was leveling up at the time. I kind of regret just because I did have a lot of fun. Sorry, go ahead. Somebody say something?
I believe you can circle people with the Korchins.
I thought that was the Kev tool, but I don't have either, so I can't speak from first-hand experience, and I never was in a battle where I was like, God damn, those Korchins are messing me up, or man, those Kev tools are messing me up, so I never bothered with them.
I can speak from some experience with the Korchins.
Okay.
I don't think that the circle is too effective even in field battle, only because if units are moving, so say like it's a non-fortified position or if it's like a free position where the enemy can move their units out, the Korchins will actually still be doing their death circle, and then they just get run over by normal melee units at that point.
Yeah, I don't care about that move. I've used it, and I can tell you the AI is horrible. But
Yeah,
I was
the AI is really
like any use you would consider them for. Like you mentioned, one of the issues with archers is just they don't have enough armor penetration. How much is considered a decent armor penetration for them to be effective, though?
If you can increase the range, the problem will be with increased range. Do they still suck?
Yeah. So you asked about armor penetration. So it depends on what you're doing, because the rate of fire is different. So obviously, for example, melee units swing faster than archers shoot, with a few exceptions. But and obviously the rattan marksmen, they have that rapid fire. So there's not a hard answer to your question, but you want to push 1800 for penetration, and I think you can get pretty close, if not to 2000. No, you can't. I don't know what. I don't have the Vassal Longbow maxed out for penetration. So your 1800 is when you start saying, "Hey, I got some penetration," and that's why some of the other range units that I've recommended, for example, the Domain Arbalist. Actually, I'll look at mine so you can see what they look like maxed out. I've got them somewhere. Here we go. So their penetration's at 22, almost 23, so they can penetrate well. I think even the 2-star, although I don't necessarily recommend them because, well, I guess they're good to practice how to use crossbowmen because of their short range, but I don't believe that they break 1800. Where was it at? Yeah, their penetration's only 12. They'll probably get to 1500 with their upgrades. All the Aquabusiers have good penetration. I believe even the weakest one.
Oh, Tal.
Has over 2000.
I went over this with you personally, but just so that way it gets out, could you go over why you would want an Arbalist over an Arquebusier again for the entire training hall?
Okay. So basically that actually comes down to range units in general. So as a general rule of thumb, with a few exceptions with some special abilities, archers are for shooting over stuff, like I mentioned. The crossbow are better at breaking down shield walls, and the Aquabusiers are best at punching through armor. So a high armor person is going to have trouble with Aquabusiers. A shield wall is going to have problems with crossbow, and archers are obviously going to be able to move around stuff and kind of sneak attack if you want to look at it that way. The exception, of course, being the rattan marksmen. They don't break through shield walls. Any other questions or anything?
Yeah, about the terrain we were talking. When they say bad, what they mean by bad? About the terrain. Do they
Oh, yes. Okay, so let's see if I can figure out where it's at. It's been a while since I looked at it. So right here, he's talking about the terrain effects. So, for example, they fight poorly. I clicked on the rattan roundshows. They fight poorly in the desert. As far as I know, none of that stuff is implemented yet. I have not noticed any difference. Has anybody else noticed any difference depending on the terrain?
No.
Okay. There is only one exception. I have noticed a little bit of a difference, and that is actually one of the archer units, and it's the Domain Archers, I believe, that have Castle Archers. If they have a significant advantage on the Z-axis, or whatever you want to call it, a height advantage, it seems to be about between 5 and 12%. It's hard for me to say because I haven't done any static testing. I've only done it in battle. So other than that... Sorry, go ahead.
Maybe that's attack speed, or that's the walk speed. You must have something.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But as far as the actual terrain right now, as far as these bonus of the terrain effects, I don't believe that they're in game. I have not noticed any difference, and I don't know of anybody that has noticed any difference. It was a good question. Thank you for reminding me. We talked about it earlier. All right. Anything else anybody wants to know? Questions, whatever?
I don't think so.
All right, thank you everybody for showing up. I'm gonna figure out how to. Hopefully this video thing worked, and then I'll post it up. So when people ask this question, you can show it to your friends or whatever. That's all I got.
All right, thank you, Tal.